Most of you know I enjoy the outdoors, and I enjoy doing anything that involves the outdoors, especially when it comes to like hunting or fishing. To me, hunting or fishing it's almost like yoga, only you get to kill stuff. I mean, I really enjoy being outdoors. You've heard, some of you, maybe you've heard the rule of threes when it comes to survival, when it comes to being outdoors. Like the old saying is that most people can go about 3 weeks with no food. You can go about 3 days with no water. They say in the harshest element, the harshest heat or cold, you can go about 3 hours without shelter. And most of us can go about 3 minutes without air. But I would suggest that you can't last 3 seconds without hope. I mean, we need it. We live in a world right now, especially, that hope is in desperate need. And the good news is that the hope that we believe, the hope that we preach, the hope that's found in God's Word, the hope in which we are grounded, our steadfast decision to be followers of Jesus, is not based in the things that the world puts its hope. I mean, the world will put its hope in its finances, right? In your job or in your 401k. Some of you maybe have a pretty good nest egg, saved up. But all it takes is one person to sneeze the wrong way in China, and that's gone, right? I mean, just like that could be gone. Other people, we put our hope, we put our trust in the government. And that's a really sad boat to be in, right? I mean, this past Tuesday, I voted. I voted this past Tuesday. Sometimes I feel like maybe it doesn't do any good, but I feel like, hey, if Christians don't vote, who will? So I vote, and I try to inform myself the best I can to choose the candidates that I think best represent the values I think are important. But regardless of who the president is, regardless of what crazy laws get passed when it comes to things in this country, this state, anything. My hope is not grounded in the government. Human relationships. There are people who everything is grounded in a relationship. Whether it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's a husband, spouse, whether it's even just a best friend. And sometimes those can be fickle. Those can change. On this side of eternity, we lose loved ones, unfortunately. I know some people that they put their hope in even things like gambling. I mean, there are people who just, the next big win, right? And not necessarily just like going to Vegas and pulling the slot machine, but people who just always have that next get-rich-fast scheme. You know what I'm talking about? And that's where their hope is grounded. Or even crazier things, like people who they find hope in a fortune teller, right? World's falling apart. Christina and I, we just got to go see Gabriel. Haven't seen Gabriel since last May. He's back from deployment overseas, so we drove down on Thursday, got to spend all day with him Friday, and drove back on Saturday. But down where we were staying, there must have been half a dozen little fortune-telling things. For some reason, right outside the naval base, go figure, just right everywhere. So I went to one, and I knocked on the door, and she said, "Who is it?" So I just left, right? But there are some people... There are some people who they put their hope in something, right? I mean, things that are unwavering, things that are not secure, but our hope is in the Lord. And those things might offer temporary sources of hope and security, but only our hope in the Lord is something that is steadfast, enduring, providing for us as disciples an unshakable foundation as we follow in the footsteps of Jesus. I like Hebrews 6 here, verses 17 and 19, because God wanted to make the unchanging nature of his purpose very clear to the heirs of what was promised. That's you and I. He confirmed with an oath, God did this so that by 2 unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie, we who have fled to take hold of the hope set before us may be greatly encouraged and have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. We just sung that, didn't we? This passage highlights the unchanging nature of God's purpose, God's plan, and his faithfulness in fulfilling every promise in your life. Just as an anchor provides stability for a ship in a storm, so faith is for us in the things that we may face in this life. We have an anchor of hope in God's promises, and we can rest assured in the promises of God that are steadfast. That's something that is unchangeable. The circumstances around us change. God doesn't.